Brought to you by Allstate, whose policies now include protection for your home, your family, as well as your car. You're in good hands with Allstate. And now, let's all play What's My Line?
And now let's meet our award-winning panel of What's My Line. First, the popular columnist whose voice of Broadway appears in papers coast to coast, Miss Dorothy Kilgallen.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. As you all know, Arlene Francis is in Europe making a movie, and going to join her this week for a wonderful summer, we hope, in Europe is her husband and our dear friend, Martin Gabel.
On my left, a girl known for her brains as well as her beauty, who is soon going to 20th Century Fox to make a new movie called Summer World, Miss Suzy Parker.
And on my left, I'd like to introduce the last man who kissed me, Mr. Bennett, Cerf.
Kiss and tell girl, eh? Fine. Well, it's too hot.
Don't be flustered, Bennett.
My wife's watching. It's too hot tonight for insults, even the mock kidding insults that John and I exchanged. So tonight I'm going to tell you what I really think of him. I think he's a superb panel moderator and a fine gentleman. And here he is, John Davis.
Needless to say, my feelings with respect to Bennett reciprocate all of the remarks which he made about me. We really are very fond of one another. And as soon as the heat passes, we'll go back to work on one another, too. It's very nice to have you with us again, Miss Parker. And we have some very interesting occupations. I think in terms of variety of occupations and their interest, we'll agree after the program is over, the panel and I will agree that they're very interesting occupations. They'll be difficult, too, but they'll be interesting. We'll also have a famous mystery guest before the panel a little bit later in the program. And we'll meet our first challenger. And now let's meet our first contestant. Will you enter and sign in, please? Michael? Lannigan. Is that right? Mr. Lannigan, where are you from?
Washington, D.C.
Washington, D.C. Well, it's nice to have you with us. May I present the panel, Mr. Lannigan? Now, will you join me over here, please? Do you know how we keep score?
Yes.
All right, if you know how we keep score, we'll let the audience in the theater and the audience at home know exactly what your line is. All right, panel, we can tell you that Mr. Lannigan is salaried and deals in a service, and we'll begin the general questioning with Dorothy Kilgallen.
Mr. Lannigan, can both men and women enjoy your services?
Yes?
Are your services purveyed in or near Washington, D.C.?
No. One down and 9 to go, Mr. Gabel.
Are your services purveyed north of Washington, D.C.?
No. Let me have a small conference.
It could be.
Daly talked to Lannigan out of position. Could I avail myself of your services, Mr. Lannigan?
You mean specifically you in the connotation of Martin Gabel?
An adult male who lives in New York City?
I think we'd have to say no to that, wouldn't you?
I agree with that.
2 down and 8 to go, Miss Parker.
Are your services purveyed on the ground?
On the ground? They could be.
Could they be purveyed in the air?
Well, there's some facet of them that it's possible could be usefully, shall we say, emphasized by some use of air travel of one kind or another. But I think it's reasonable to assume that the services in the main would go on the ground, but this does not rule out the possibility of using some air conveyance.
In performing your services, do you need any mechanical contraption?
I will in cases, yes.
And do you like your work?
Yes.
Is it a profit-making service?
No.
That's 3 down and 7 to go, Mr. Cerf.
Mr. Lannigan, when you perform your service, are you wearing something other than an ordinary suit, civilian suit? Wearing some kind of a uniform?
Not a uniform.
Well, I mean something other than...
I might explain, Bennett, to Mr. Lannigan, that uniform here means almost anything except a normal business suit. So that what I think we could say here is that on occasion, it's very likely he might be wearing other than a business suit. At the same time, you correct me if I'm wrong, Mike. On other occasions, he could work in a business suit. It would be both.
It's other than a uniform of one of the armed services, then. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Would it be some kind of a working apparel that would protect you from getting dirty when you were doing your work? Would it be that kind of...
Could be.
Do you work in any way with machines?
I could.
Is your work in any way connected with transportation?
Might be.
It might be.
Do you have to have a knowledge of machinery to do the work that you do?
I might.
You might?
Might. I would say here, Bennett, to try to be fair to you, I certainly say I'm sure Mike has some knowledge of machinery, and it's fair to assume that any knowledge of machinery that he has now or does subsequently acquire could usefully serve the ends which he seeks in his work.
Well, now, you say you work for a non-profit-making organization, but you're not in the armed forces. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Is the work that you do for any governmental agency?
Yes.
Is it the federal government?
Yes.
Is it anything to do with transportation in the government?
No.
No, not specifically transportation in the government. 4 down and 6 to go, Miss Kilgallen.
Mr. Lannigan, do you have any connection with the space age?
No.
5 down and 5 to go, Mr. Gabel.
Is there some new invention even remotely connected with what you do, Mr. Lannigan?
No.
6 down and 4 to go, Miss Parker.
Do you come in direct physical contact with people?
Yes.
Could be. It isn't absolutely necessary to the performance of the function, but if he usefully serves in the post which he has now aspired to, it's reasonable to assume that some direct physical contact might be necessary, right?
I'll be coming in contact with the people.
Mm-hmm.
Other than a handshake?
It'll be part of my work to work with the people.
No, we're talking about physical contact, actually, Mike. You know,
Oh, I see.
this sort of thing. But even this, in the context of his work, it's very possible that he might come in physical contact, too.
Does it have to do with the demonstration of anything?
Yes, it could.
Then it's necessary for you to talk a good deal in your work.
Yes.
You have special training, obviously, for what you do. You specialize.
Yes.
And are people benefited, let's say, publicly by what you do?
Yes.
I pass.
Mr. Cerf.
Have you any connection, Mr. Lannigan, with the Peace Corps?
That's it. Mike has indeed some connection with the Peace Corps. He's a member of the Peace Corps, presently at Rutgers University.
That's correct.
Where he is taking under forced draft, some special training, particularly in language, and has been assigned to Colombia in South America, where he's going to help by working with the local population in community development. Now, you have had service with the Marine Corps, have you not?
That's correct.
How long were you with the Marines?
It was a 6-month reserve program.
The platoon leaders or the...
No enlisted down at Paris Island in Camp Lejeune.
Well, that's great training for anything. That's great training. His dad before him, your dad was a Marine, wasn't
That's
he?
right. He's retired Brigadier General.
Retired Brigadier General Marine, and the Brigadier General of the Marine is something, a real something. Well, I don't think that you need to be told that the work that you have set yourself to do is very important work for our country. I don't want to belabor the matter, but congratulations for wanting to do it, and may you get as much satisfaction out of it as the personal sacrifice you're putting into it properly indicates you should have. Nice to have you with us. Congratulations, panel. We thought we would fool you completely with that one, and we nearly did. Not nearly, really, because you got to it with 6 down and 4 to go. But let's see what we can do with the second contestant. Will you enter and sign in, please? Christian.
Good God.
Magnusdatter, right? Miss Magnusdatter, where are you from?
From Iceland.
From Iceland. As a matter of fact, I have some information which we might just as well convey to the panel right now. Miss Magnusdatter is Miss Iceland in the coming Miss Universe pageant, which is to be held in... completed. The finals will be held in Florida on the 15th of...
Saturday, July 15th.
A week from Saturday. Fine. How long have you been in this country?
Since last Sunday.
Since last Sunday. Having fun?
Yes, very much.
Nervous now?
A little bit, yes.
Don't have to be. They're really very nice people. May I present our panel, Miss Magnusdatter? And then will you join me over here? Tell me, coming from Iceland, do you know how we keep score? But what happens every time they ask you a question to which you can properly give the answer no, we turn one of these cards over. 10 flips of the cards, and you've won the game. If they discover just exactly what your occupation at home is before then they've won the game. All right?
Okay.
All right, now we'll let the audience at home and the audience in the theater know exactly what your line is at home. All right, panel. We can tell you that Miss Magnusdatter is salaried and deals in a service, and we'll begin the general questioning with Bennett Cerf.
Miss Kristen Lavenstrader Magnusdatter. Does the service that you perform, Miss Magnusdatter, is it done in Iceland?
Yes.
Could you perform a similar service right here in the United States?
Yes.
In other words, it's nothing that's just specially done up in Iceland.
No.
Do you come in physical contact with the people for whom you perform the service?
In a way, yes.
No, we have a small conference. We'll be gone. Be back in about an hour.
Are you sure this conference is necessary, John?
Right?
No.
Well, we have discussed the whole issue, Bennett, and you're very lucky, actually, because Miss Magnusdatter wants to be very fair. So we give you a no answer on
Thank
that.
you.
That's 1 down and 9 to go, Miss Kilgallen.
Miss Magnusdatter, would you say that your service was a luxury service rather than a necessity?
No.
2 down and 8 to go, Mr. Gabel.
Is this the service that you're rendering now in any way related, even remotely, to the question of your being in the Miss Universe contest?
No.
3 down and 7 to go, Miss Parker.
Does your service have to do with animals? With what? Animals? No.
4 down and 6 to go, Mr. Cerf.
Does your service leave people either looking better or feeling happier than before they come in contact with you?
Sometimes, yes.
Are they looking better?
Yes.
Looking better?
No.
5 down and 5 to go.
Said yes, John.
Miss Kilgallen.
Do you have anything to do with a non-profit making organization?
Wait a minute.
No.
No, that's 6 down and 4 to go. I must say I'm enjoying tonight's program.
It's very hard to keep one's continuity of thought, John, with the enormous conferences that you are allowing yourself.
Martin, you understand that I am only conducting these conferences in the interests of probity and accuracy.
I quite understand that, but in these late years, my concentration is failing, John. Am I then to understand that what you do makes people feel better?
Sometimes.
If they look better, it's only as an indirect result of feeling better. Is that the idea?
Sometimes what is done makes people feel better, or we can assume that it makes them feel better, right?
Do you need special training for this job?
Yes.
Do you need training beyond secondary school, beyond high schools?
Yes.
You have to go to a university of some kind.
No, but we won't give you a no on that. Actually, training is required of a special character, but is not necessarily connected with academic degrees or anything
Right.
like
Is
that.
it more physical than mental, this training?
More physical.
More physical. Are there any athletics involved in what you do?
No.
7 down and 3 to go, Miss Parker.
Do you wear a special uniform for what you do?
No.
8 down and 2 to go, Mr. Cerf.
Have you, are you in any way connected with the medical profession?
No.
9 down and 1 to go, Miss Kilgallen.
Now, you've said that you require special training and that it's physical, but it's necessity rather than luxury. This is a necessary...
It's a necessary service, and a degree of special training of a special character is required to perform the service, but it does not necessarily require academic training.
Do you ever work out of doors?
No.
That makes it 10 down.
I guess you're a teacher?
A teacher?
No.
No, that's right. No. No, that's very good. Anybody else want to take a guess?
No.
No? Job that you can do in this country as well as you can do in Iceland? No? What do you do?
Telephone operator.
Telephone operator. Actually, Miss Magnusdottir is employed now by an Iceland airline and hopes to become a stewardess, but at the moment she is the switchboard operator for the airline.
John, that's only necessary for teenagers.
I forgot, I should have qualified that, you're right. Let's say, anyway, adults don't get a shot at it. But I must say, in Iceland, they have remarkably beautiful telephone operators.
Thank you.
As I said earlier, we're going to be together a week from Saturday. I don't know whether you know that or not. I'm
No,
going to
I
be the host reporter on the Miss Universe pageant on a week from Saturday night from, I believe it's 10 to 11:30 at night at the finals, and I
Yes.
hope that when the finals are there, you and I have a chance to shake hands and congratulate you.
John, Miss Iceland is taking that quite calmly.
I think take it very calmly. Well, this is the 10th anniversary, I think, of the Miss Universe pageant, and one of the notable things about it is that the young ladies are remarkably calm and serious about what they do. And you've been very good. You stumped the panel, and we hope you enjoy your visit to America. It's nice to have you here with us. Nice to have you with us. We'll meet tonight's mystery guest in just a moment, but first, here is a word from our sponsor. Well, now we come to that. Was I caught talking off screen to somebody over here? Well, I was talking to somebody. You suppose I was caught? Well, anyway. Now we come to the special feature of our program, the appearance of our mystery celebrity, for which, as you all know, the panel is asked to blindfold itself. All the panel members are asked to blindfold themselves. You all blindfolded, panel?
Yes.
Yes, John.
All right, would you enter Mystery Challenger and sign in, please? Panel, as you know, we go to a different form of questioning in this particular part of the program. One question at a time, in turn, moving clockwise, and we'll begin with Suzy Parker.
Are you in show business?
No.
1 down and 9 to go, Mr. Cerf.
I've got to ask a question I'll probably get a no for, but I'm just playing a hunch. Do you ever hit home runs?
Sometimes.
Miss Kilgallen?
Bennett, you're devouring tonight.
Well, good heavens. I can only think of stupid questions like that. Are you a ball player? Do you play for a New York team?
Yes.
Are you either Mickey Mantle or Roger Maris?
No.
2 down and 8 to go, Miss Parker.
Are you in love with a movie star?
Our guest said I'd better answer that. The answer is no. 3 down and 7 to go, Mr. Cerf.
You're on the New York Yankees, but you're not Maris or Mantle, correct? Have you played several positions this year, notably catcher and left field? Are you Yogi Berra?
You know, Yogi, all I can say for Bennett is he's a great odds player. He's been thinking we'd have somebody from the giants of the sports world with us soon, and you hit it tonight. How you doing?
Oh, pretty good, John.
Actually, I know privately of a phone conversation between Toots Shore and Yogi on Saturday, at which time, as the conversation was reported to me, you and Mickey Mantle and Maestri and Whitey Ford were down at your house at the pool, and Maestri was going to cook.
Well, we had a good steak dinner last night.
You mean he's a good cook?
Very good.
We thought you'd have spaghetti.
No, we had steak and some hamburgers, and you notice how Mickey's hitting it. You know, he's eating Quebec's breakfast, and he wants Tony to cook all the time now.
John, could I ask Yogi a question?
Yeah, please do.
Which do you prefer playing, Yogi? Field, outfield, or catching?
Well, Ben, I think right now outfield's pretty good now.
I mean, you don't have to stoop down and get those foul tips.
Well, it's a lot easier now.
Well, actually, taking Bennett's question, Yogi, is it fair to say that the catcher's job on a ball club, in terms of physical wear and tear, is the toughest job there is?
Well, I would say so, John. You take today now, the temperature was 95 out. I guess on the field it's about 98. And if you have to catch a doubleheader, you're pretty well worn out.
Well, most people are. You never seem to wear out.
Well,
Yogi hit you at your 2,000th hit in Los Angeles this past week, did you
that's
not?
right.
2,000 hits. Now, I've got to admit, immediately, I absorbed this sort of thing from Toots Shore, who's probably the greatest sports fan in the country, but you were the most valuable player in 1951, 1954, 4 and 5. 1951, 54 and 5. And how many All-Star games you played in? 12, 13?
13 I've been in.
You're going to play in All-Star game July 11th?
We won't know until Tuesday.
Well, all I can say, if they don't put you in that lineup, there's going to be a lot of ferment. There's another great baseball fan over there, Bennett Cerf, and there's another one sitting right over there, Martin Gabel. Great baseball fans, all of them. Well, it's nice to have you with us, and I'm glad that you eat so well with Mantle and Whitey Ford and the rest of the boys, and
well, I have to kick him out tomorrow, John. My wife's coming home.
that's the part I don't understand. Yogi's wife's coming home, and all these freeloaders have to go home. Yogi, thanks a lot for coming to see us. It was nice to have you with us, and What's My Line? Good night. Overall, we've got to admit you've done very well tonight, panel. Congratulations, and we'll be back after this word from our alternate. Well, unfortunately, time again has fled us, but there are one or two nice things to do to say happy birthday to Dorothy Kilgallen, whose birthday is tomorrow. And bon voyage to Martin Gabel, who is leaving on Wednesday for Germany to join Arlene, who is busy making a picture named 1, 2, 3, I believe. Is that not so? And to say also again, nice to have you with us, Miss Parker. And good night, Dorothy, and happy birthday again.
Thank you, John. Good night. Give Arlene our love.
I certainly will, Dorothy, and happy birthday. Good night, Suzy.
Good night, Martin. Good night, Bennett.
Virgin getting paid to sit next to Suzy Parker. Good night, John.
You were just born lucky, man. That's all, just born lucky. And next week, by the way, an old friend of ours, Steve Allen, and his lovely wife, Jane Meadows, will be with us on the panel. Good night, and thanks for being with us on What's My Line?
What's My Line is a CBS television network production in association with Mark Goodson and Bill Gottman. This is Ralph Paul speaking.